Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/show/Best Damn Podcast. Also check out the bestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and whatever you're watching on, please make sure to subscribe, follow, hit the like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share. The number one way to support this channel is by sharing. So share the links, get them out there, the way new people can see us. And consider donating and supporting today. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. All of the links will be in the description. And I was going to do the private show tonight, but I thought, man, I feel like I haven't done a show in like a year or something. It's been a while, so I'm like, I'm just going to do a show tonight and let everybody know that tonight or tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern, all those who support for the month of June, we will be doing the Best Damn Fam live. So everybody, I hope that you will join me. I tried last night, guys. I just had kids everywhere. So, yeah, I failed miserably, basically. Let's see what we have in the chat. Hipsy Gypsy, AKJ Frazier. More Grace over on Facebook Live. Melanie Giss? Geez? I'm sorry. Geis? Who knows, right? I'm just trying. Leona Hamilton, Allison Taylor. Dan in the Tree over on D Live. Dan in the Tree. Stephen Kath. Paulo W. Tom Ledbetter, Facebook Live, Tim Hamby, Donna Cagle, Metatron's Cube, Logs Gaming, Music, The Sage Universe, Jane, Go, Kylan? I'm trying here, guys. Facebook Live, Lee Connor Noel, Shelly Scott, Rachel Kneebone, Javier Sabalos, 757 Green General, Rachel Kneebone, Tim Hamby. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Well, didn't expect to lose my entire screen like that, but hey, it is what it is, right? Let's go ahead and kill the music. Man, I got a bunch of crazy stuff, man. A bunch of crazy stuff to share with you guys tonight. There's been a lot of things happening. First off, we have had a tremendous amount of swarming and shaking and earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. I mean, the shit is just knocking here on Earth right now. I think we're going to see why here in just a moment. I've got so many crazy videos. I mean, it gets to the point now, guys, where like used to back in the day, I would try to explain a lot of it. I'd be like, yeah, I think this is electromagnetism. But I'm just like throwing my hands up. Like, I don't know what the fuck that is, man. It's just weird, right? It's crazy. There's giant celestial objects in the sky. It looks like there's crafts flying all around. They're telling you that the noctilucent clouds are coming in early and it's supposed to glow blue in the middle of the night. Or the zodiacal lights are what's lighting up the sky. I mean, the lies are thick still. I mean, that's about the only thing that hasn't changed is that they lie so damn much. But right now, it looks as if, and this is just like an opinion, this isn't a fact or anything, it looks as if we are getting ready to really see some big mega quakes coming in. Anytime you see like all of this swarming, especially, relative to these fault zones, these major fault zones, we've talked about the North American craton and how it's this mega plate. Let me see if I can just pull up an image and show you this. The North American craton, this mega plate that North America obviously sits on. And all of this energy is coming up from around these major faults. See, here's your image. I'll pull this out for you. North American craton. You can check out where you live. A lot of people believe that in the event of a magnetic reversal or excursion, right, pole shift, that this craton plate might be the only thing left above water, right, when things start to shift. You can actually see In this graphic here, see the North American craton continental crust that has remained relatively stable for the past 600 million years. Now, I don't know about all that 600 million years shit, but it has remained relatively stable for a long time. But it doesn't mean everywhere around it is. Like you see in this graph here, right? This is the deformed craton right around the edges, and you see this is Yellowstone, right? You've got Cascadia subduction zone in San Andreas that are on the very outside. And, many maps. We show the pole shift maps or the flood maps. People know them by different names. And it shows the United States basically broken into three. Now, we know that prophetical-wise, that's also a key thing about Babylon being broken into three as well. I've done shows on it, in the past. And where we're seeing these massive releases of energy is basically where I think we're going to see a lot of these places start to sink. Is this going to happen overnight? Who knows, right? Who knows when it comes to this stuff? You can't really predict these kind of things. You can project. And as we move closer into this ring of fire, and I wanted to say this the last time I did a video, but I didn't get to. And I said this the last couple of eclipses that we've had. If you guys remember the only solar eclipse in 2020, I was talking about, we were about to get rocked, man. Why? Why do I think we're getting rocked? Here, let me show you why. This is why I think we're getting our heads knocked over here on fish tank Earth, planet Earth, pizza Earth, globe Earth, whatever you believe Earth, right? It is because all of the stars, fam, all of the stars are lining up here. So you don't only have this Nemesis system or Planet X or Nibiru. Truth be told, I don't know about it, right? I don't know. I do believe there's a dragon, and I do believe that there is going to be a crossing or an ascending of some planetary bodies. I absolutely believe that, but I just don't know which ones they are. I'm starting to lean towards the ones in our own system. That's what I'm starting to lean towards. Because we're watching them, and this was prophesied. The Greeks prophesied this. This is the final conflagration, is what it's called. The sun goes into this major, active-ass phase, right? According to a lot of these prophetical texts. And this is also not just prophetical, you can look at it historically as well. Like in Lost Book of Enki. They tell it in such great detail how they got their ass handed to them by Mother Nature, right before it happened, and what were the signs, what were the things taking place. And I think this is key, because there's nothing new under the sun. So we know that all this shit's going to repeat itself. But according to the final conflagration, all the planetary bodies return to their original place, right? They return to their original place in the heavens, where they basically started. And I know that it's like nonsensical to a scientific mind that listens to what the scientific consensus is. See, and this is the difference too. A lot of people think that just because it's the scientific consensus that it has to be right? That's indoctrination, right? You depend on these institutions, these academia, governmental systems, and all of this, religious systems, to tell you what the authorized version of something is. And I myself, I choose to believe that they are no authority on any of these things. They're sitting in the same spot as we are, right? Their ass is down here too. The only difference between us and them is they got a little bit more money from stealing all of it from all of us by selling us, worthless things and taking all the resources and all of that, to buy a little bit bigger mirrors and shit to create these telescopes that are basically giant versions of crystal balls to allow them to see outward into the abyss, right? I don't believe that space is what we're told, not even in the closest account of what we're told. No heliocentric model, no standard model, no comet spinning behind the sun shit. None of it. Space is probably water of some type, just to be honest. There's probably not a bunch of galaxies and shit like that, out into the ether. And who even really knows, what a star truly is? Is it a conscious entity, right? Have they already died? Right? Are we just seeing like the trace of light as it travels towards us and they're already gone? They've already went out. Everything's over. And that's why we live in a simulation. Is because it's all done, And if you look at the words of Christ, he said, it is finished. So I choose not to believe what I'm told, and I come to my own conclusions. See, the Bible says that the truth is written on our hearts. Our hearts is the seat of our soul. So if we're really truly going within and soul searching and knowing thyself, right, then we are finding real answers that we don't have to depend on outside sources to tell us what's what, right? And don't get me wrong, sometimes, academia and all of this, they come up with some good shit, man, and maybe some right answers. But most of the time, in my opinion, these are all what we call the exoteric. It's meant to misguide you, to lead you astray, to lead you in the wrong direction, or to get you looking at things from a really jacked up point of view, right? Like you're seeing something, but you're not getting a true take on it, right? Because they got you looking at this shit upside down, backwards and sideways, instead of, straight on and seeing it for what it truly is, right? And this is what the problem is. This is why we can't trust a word they say. They do have an agenda. We know that. We know it. Tell me they don't. It's being rolled out all over the world right now. You probably know people that's already fallen victim to it. And they will lie. That's obvious. Right? Tell me they don't. How many fact-checking fucking bullshit do you see on all of the social media that's just straight up garbage, lies, right? Tell me they follow the laws and they obey the rules that they set for you, the standards they set for you. They don't, right? They find different ways to weasel through them. Matter of fact, the fact-checkers, they come from different countries. That way they can get around the Constitution, even though that's null and void, right? From a national emergency declaration. Speaking of emergencies, how many different things have been authorized due to emergencies? Circumventing all those rights you thought you had, right? So this prophecy, you can see here, talks about all these planets returning to their original place into the heavens, and they're lining up straight across. There's Mars, Venus, Mercury, the moon, the sun. Look how close they are. And we've been watching this for, shit guys, how long now? Literally watching these things line up, and now we're watching them come together. There's Uranus and the moon. Neptune, which they're now saying massive amounts of X-rays are coming off of. We'll talk about it in a moment. Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. Look at that. Look how close they're getting. Look how perfectly aligned they are. I do believe that this is that final conflagration, and it talks about this big freeze and this big fire and the end of all things, the end of all these cycles that we've known, all these cycles that we went through, all these cycles that are probably not as long as you thought they were. They weren't as long as I thought they were, at least. I don't know about you, but I was, thinking, 6,500, 7,500 years, 12,500, 24,000 years. Even if those cycles were to hold, and they're real things, right? They're real, actual cycles according to creation. Well, shit, about every 400 years, sometimes 50 years, sometimes 100 years, we get our asses taken back to the Stone Age, and there is a massive culling of the population and a cleansing of the earth, if you will. A harvest. A harvest. Now, who's benefiting from this harvest? Well, that's a long story for another day, children. But, I could almost guess that it's these intradimensional entities that are keeping you deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid. Right? The God of the blind. That's who the God of this world is. That's who's running this show. That's who put a governor on your brain. That way you can never access more than 10% at any given moment. Right? That's who split your brain into two parts. So the two yous would fight with themselves and be confused as to who's in charge and who is really you. Right? So this whole benign, benevolent bullshit about ETs are sending us these great messages of how they want us to ascend and transcend this reality, and they want us to survive all the cataclysms. Is nonsense, in my opinion. The only thing that I've seen, the evidence I've seen, is that they cycle us over and over and over to destruction, and every time that we begin to snap back out of it, this slumber we were put under. Remember, Adam was put to sleep. His brightness was removed from him, and then the rib was taken out, which is part of his DNA, and he was fractaled or fractured into male and female. We've never awakened from that. And when we start to, like now, destruction comes. Harvest comes. And it looks like it comes in the form of a planet or planets, celestial bodies. That firmament that keeps us all in here, cozy and warm, well, it appears as if it goes down, something goes by, and almost everybody in the earth dies. Over and over and over again. And as they do these cycles to us, these catastrophic cycles, it feels as if, and I believe that they are taking us along some type of longer scale harvest too. To where, whether you believe in reincarnation or what you believe, we know that energy is never created or destroyed, right? It transfers, right, to new things, transforms to new things. It's exchange, right? So it looks as if they're manipulating our energy or the earth's energy. Maybe it's one and the same, the God energy, whatever, right? Along these larger cycles, and we have reached the end of all of them. Like, this is probably the end all beat all. So now we find ourselves getting ready to rock and roll after this eclipse. Remember, and I know I can be repetitive sometimes, and I'm not trying to mind control you, I promise. I'm just trying to show you some things. That when we have a solar eclipse, according to the Jewish text, it's a bad omen for the world. We just got past a lunar eclipse and a blood moon, right? That blood moon means the coming of a sword. That lunar eclipse is a bad omen for Israel, which is he who wrestles with the fallen. So now we have this, the ring of fire, on top of it. I don't know anything according to the Jewish text pertaining to a ring of fire, but I got an idea, right? I got an idea. The last time we had one of these ring of fire eclipses, we were getting images from all over the world of actual, what looked like planets or something that were being eclipsed. You could see the moon in the sky, and then whatever the ring of fire was not what they were saying. It was a whole nother body that was being eclipsed. So I imagine when we're walking head first into this 42 months, right, this prophetical timeline, and the destruction and the sorrows are beginning, the fire might mean actual fire, the coming of fire. And this is coming on June 10th, right? June 10th. The Ring of Fire solar eclipse. This, to me, these alignments, this is what's creating the earthquakes. This is what's creating the volcanic eruptions. This is what's creating all the cyclonic, weather and the charged particles in the air with hurricanes, tornadoes, all of this. This is what's creating all of these things. And you got to think, in March, 3 tsunami exercises, right? Lantex, Pacifics, and Caribex 21. Just a couple of weeks ago, on April 26th, I think, was the beginning of the PDC 2021 International Community in cooperation with NASA for an asteroid impact simulation. And it wasn't to stop one. These dudes couldn't stop shit if they wanted to. Trust me. It was to prepare for disaster in the aftermath. It was a disaster preparedness exercise for the international community. And we've talked about all the different prophetical things about how they marked out CERN, right? The location of CERN, and Nostradamus and the Quatrain 944 and him talking about, Geneva being decimated and that being the temple of Apollyon or Abaddon the destroyer. And all of these different prophecies that kind of look like even Apophis or some asteroid might make an impact in that location to open this bottomless pit or be flung from the heavens to bring all of this in. Is that what is eclipsing the sun rather than the moon? Is that what's creating the ring of fire? You look at the Colburn, you look at the Bible, you look at Lost Book of Inky, and everything that was happening to them is happening to us now. The Arctic, these doomsday glaciers, these massive ice sheets in the Arctic and Greenland, they were breaking off then, right? They actually knew when it was about to pass because the doomsday glacier actually would break loose. Like it was this one big large chunk that would break loose, and it sent tsunamis everywhere in the Lost Book of Inky. That's how they knew. The Anunnaki, they took their ass up into low Earth orbit and watched the whole thing, right? And left humanity down here to get smoked. Matter of fact, I believe the Tower of Babel, when they're talking about all of that, is the same thing as the opening of the bottomless pit, right? It's them punching a hole in the firmament. Right? And they're telling you a story of Marduk that was doing it in the Lost Book of Inky. Well, think about who Marduk is, right? He's Jupiter. Jupiter is also Michael. Michael opens the bottomless pit, and he also chains the destroyer back up when it's all said and done, right? You see, there's like these similarities that we can't deny. I know people get mad at me because I talk about astrotheology and the occult and all of this. But man, if we don't look at everything from every direction and examine the whole shit, then we're going to miss something. Right? We can't allow our indoctrination, our cognitive dissonance to dictate, how we view our surroundings. We can't. And see, the skies are showing these things. Craziness. Look, intense earthquake swarm near Salton Sea, Southern California. And I'm going to show you some quakes here, and then I'm telling you, I've got some wild shit. An intense earthquake swarm is taking place near the Salton Sea in Southern California, U.S. on June the 5th, 2021, starting with magnitude 2.2. And the USGS has registered 285 earthquakes. The swarm is still in progress, and new earthquakes are being registered every few minutes, sometimes 2 or 3 within 1 minute. And it says update, 805 earthquakes were registered by June 6th. 805. Think about it. Every time we have full moons, every time we have eclipses or celestial alignments, planets that come into conjunction, we have massive volcanic eruptions, massive earthquakes. Maybe not like we've been experiencing the last year or two, because we wasn't in that time yet, right? We wasn't in the appointed time, right? But we are now. Anybody, go look it up. When you see the gas giants and they're all on one side of the sun, right? Whenever we line up with them, we have earthquakes, bigger volcanoes, asteroid Apophis. Both times that it's passed, massive volcanic eruptions and massive earthquakes have happened. The exact time when it has passed, right? These are the things I'm talking about. So these celestial bodies are why this is happening. Now we're coming into a ring of fire, solar eclipse, and bam, all of a sudden we're swarming, releasing this energy. And I won't go into the whole gory details. Just please watch my videos. If you don't know me, know my channel, know my work, watch some of my videos, because I talk about a lot of the stuff in depth. But I believe that we live in an electromagnetic creation, and it's plasmatic, our core, the inner earth, if you will, and that there's a cycle of energy going on from the sun to the magnetic field, back down again into the core, up out through the crust, into us, into the air, into the clouds. I mean, it's over and over and over. And these gases, this is all from energy just discharging and heating up and, going around and around. And it's creating this film on the top of the ionosphere, which is trapping more and more of this shit in here with us. It's got tons and tons of cosmic rays and cosmic dust raining down each and every day. So this is not going to stop until the process has completed. We have the South Atlantic anomaly, which is a negative polarity that is repelling our poles away from that anomaly, creating a new magnetic north eventually in Siberia. And we are 100 miles maybe? 150 miles from that point now? And I mean, this thing is cooking with grease too. It's already moved over 60-something miles since the start of 2021 and increasing in speed. Magnetic north, right? We're getting more and more of this each and every single day. And I believe, just like when you see HARP and DARPA and the stratospheric aerosol injection, Operation Solar Shield, all of that shit, go look it up and what they've done with the manipulation of plasma and how they're moving the energy around, and understand that the geoengineering and shit, this whole artificial exchange, creating earthquakes, and then you see the earthquake lights because of the plasmatic discharge. Maybe there's nothing artificial to any of it. Maybe this process is happening naturally and it's from a celestial object called Planet X or Jupiter, right? And all these planets coming in to conjunction, coming into alignment, are creating this stress, this magnetic pull, right, on the Earth, ourselves. And that's why we're seeing these major spikes in the Schumann resonance, right? Because our magnetic field is getting all topsy-turvy. Our sun, right, it's in a solar cycle maximum, and it's blowing loads nonstop and getting crazier each and every day. And we have all of this energy exerting itself from all of the different faults, which is where the energy has to escape, right? Because of this process and this energy that's heating up and rising to the top, it makes the crust heat up and expand, and it escapes through these faults. And at these faults, you're seeing massive amounts of energy getting out, which means massive amounts of energy is coming in, which means something is giving off said energy. And I think it is Planet X or Jupiter or whatever, and we're getting ready to see what all of this is about. The strongest so far was magnitude 5.3. The quake struck 7 miles west of Calipatria and Westmoreland at a depth of 4.6 miles. 3,000 people are estimated to have felt strong shaking, 9,000 moderate, and 201,000 light. More than 1,050 people submitted "I felt it" reports. And see, take a look, man. Take a look where this is, right? Remember that craton? Understand this. That's the big plate. Right? That's the big plate that all of this is sitting on. And if you look at, and this is really a despicable act, but if you look at all the fracking And where it's been done, it's a disgusting thing, man. But they have done this all along that craton on all of the faults. They've done it all the way up New Madrid, San Andreas, Cascadia, which Cascadia is swarming as well. I'll show you in just a second. Right now as well, right? And this is because of that alignment. Remember, back in October, I believe it was, around the blue moon and the Mars opposition and Mars-Pluto squared and all of the astrological events, we started to talk about how we were going to see massive increases in this type of stuff. And each time the eclipse have happened, right, like the one on the 14th, 7 days before the Great Conjunction, we were expecting these things. And then the passing of Apophis, we were expecting these things. Well, now the Ring of Fire, and think about it. The sixth seal in the Bible says, and lo, there was a great earthquake. Right, a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth made of hair, and the moon turned to blood. Just consider, we had a blood moon just a few short days ago, right, in that lunar eclipse, which was a fucking weird one too. You guys remember the images showing like red objects around it, and how the Colburn talks about a new moon will appear in the sky before being broken into pieces at the coming of the destroyer. And now the sun is being eclipsed, and that gives it the appearance of being black, right? So I'm just saying, I know they are separate events, but they're right next to each other. And could it be kind of something of things to come, right? The blood moon and the black sun. Like, is that something that's happening right now? And are we going to see this play out all at once? Will it take off after the Ring of Fire? Will this be a symbol for war because of the fire, right? Remember, all of the witchcraft and the magic and, all of this shit that's being done to bring about this Mashiach, this Antichrist, this God, if you will, this deity, and his presence. It's according to the stars, right? Astrology and numerology. And they use gematria, and they use all of these things. So every time we have these events, every time there's these major alignments, I pay attention because I know that they are, right? And I know that that could mean, big changes for us, right? And we know that. As soon as the Great Conjunction happened, they punched the fucking gas on this agenda to get everybody, marked, so to speak, right? And I told you they would, right? Because when we entered into the age of Aquarius, right, we would see the technological advances and the civil unrest, because that is what it is supposed to be according to the stars, right? The astrological stuff. And that's exactly what we've seen. So, this Ring of Fire, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I expect fire. Whether that entails war or volcanoes and, wildfires and earthquakes and things of that nature, I expect this. I expect big events to be coming as a result of this. And you can call me fucking doom and gloom if you want. I don't give a shit. Go watch something else. And here. Right, this is a telltale sign right here. And think about it. We've had more fucking plane crashes in the last couple of years than probably all of, history combined. Seriously. And all due to electrical equipment failure. Right? These planes are going down. VP Harris, plane forced to land after technical issue. Right? This is because of the disturbance in the magnetic field, guys. Right? This planetary body, man. You think about all the different stories about these gods, demigods, deities, and Zeus and his lightning bolts and all of this. This is plasmatic discharge. These are electrical connections being made between one object and another, right? And this thing, as it goes up over the sun, coming from under the ecliptic and making its pass, it's going to lock on to us, man, and it's going to be one strong fucking current of electricity. And once you've already taken on so much of the cosmic rays, so much of these charged particles, well, there's nowhere for it to go. There's nowhere for it to go. It's all in our ionosphere, and it's coming down in the form of lightning and in storms and in big discharges and coming up from underneath us in the form of, wildfires and volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. There's nowhere for it to go, right? So this thing, when it starts to lay waste to us that way, I don't know what people are going to do, because we're already seeing major indicators that's beginning to happen too. And this is just one little one, right? But you see, they're taking their plane back to the ground. We've seen massive blackouts, right? All usually around South America. Why? Because that's where the equator is. That's where the South Atlantic anomaly is, right? And that's where the magnetic field is the weakest. Now, where's the other one here? Earthquake swarm under Mount Hood volcano, Oregon. You see? And think about the fault lines and the craton, like I was showing you. And it's a flow of energy. Okay? It's a flow. So earthquakes, this plasmatic energy, like a pool, right, underneath the land, it's flowing. So that's why you'll see a 2.2 pop up here. You'll see them go all the way down the fault. 2.2, 2.3, 2.1, 2.2, 2.4, right? About the same amount of energy being released, because it's waves, right? And it travels along all of these faults into the Pacific Northwest, down the Cascadia, where this slow slip action is taking place, which that season was supposed to be over a grip ago, but it never stopped, and that's why they started blacking out all those quakes, right? And then across here, right, into Yellowstone, which we're starting to see really weird and anomalous activities taking place there too as well, guys. And then down in here into San Andreas, because it's going around the deformed craton as well, right? These are the faults. This is where the energy is escaping. And you'll see it go up and in into New Madrid, and then back out and around up the Atlantic into the Northeast. And we've seen everything from methane explosions to gas lines to all this shit all the way around this craton, because that's the way the energy's traveling, right? And there you go. Earthquake swarm under Mount Hood. Southern California swarm. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the energy traveling and escaping. And it's all because we're lining up now, and there's being an intense pull or an intense repulsion, both pull and push, that comes from these stars, right? They have poles just like the Earth does. So as it's repelling us coming from underneath, once it goes over, it locks on and pulls, right? And that's why the Earth wobbles to and fro like a drunkard in the last days. And think about it. The Earth is tilting on its axis, and they're saying it's changed, right? And all these signs of perturbation, considering the confounding of the moon, the sun, setting 20 to 29 degrees, off. This is the type of shit that's letting you know, man, we're in that time. And even Edgar Cayce talked about these specific events, right? Like the wobbling, like the sun, like the colors in the sky, and all of that, which are just different forms of electromagnetic light, right, that are coming through the ionosphere. He told us, too, to look out for these things. And here, the Cascades Volcano Observatory has detected an earthquake swarm in the Mount Hood area, Oregon, on June the 5th, same day, right? The swarm continued into June the 6th, so did the other, when the activity started to quiet down. The last known eruption of this volcano took place in 1865 and 1866. The last major eruptive period began in 1781 and lasted to 1801. A magnitude 3.9 earthquake was registered on June the 6th and the 5th, approximately 2.5 miles south of the summit of Mount Hood at a depth of 2.7 miles below sea level, that it was felt in the vicinity around Mount Hood. It was preceded by several earthquakes in the hour prior to the magnitude 3.9, and tens of aftershocks have occurred so far, with event rates declining in a manner typical of main shock aftershock sequences, the CBO said in a statement issued on June the 6th. And there's your graphic of the Mount Hood earthquake swarm right here. Guys, there's so many of these fucking volcanoes that are just all over the place. Matter of fact, I encourage you, when you have time, sometime, not now, watch my video, please. Yeah. Okay. But, when you're not watching me, that you go look at like a topographical map, right? In the topography. And what you'll see, like right here in this image, and let me just make it bigger so you can see. Let me make it bigger here. You're going to notice, and remember, nothing new under the sun. You're going to notice that right here in the summit, you see these lines, right? You see these lines in the land? All here looking like almost like a stream or something, right? Where water would flow. Look over here too, right? You see the lines as well? Right, and this is all the way through the southwest, west coast. You can see these, what looks like, I think, probably a major caldera around Oklahoma. I mean, a lot of shit like this. These are from some time past lava flowing over the land, right? And it's created these big lines or currents in the topography of the land now. You can see where it's happened before, right? Where the flow happened. And now we have this activity again. Well, you could probably, or you probably will see when this thing pops, it flow in the exact same places that it flowed before, depending on how the plates underneath it shift, what raises, what falls, that will dictate a lot of which directions all of this will go. But you can see it, man. It's happened before, and it will happen again. Go look at a map, a topographical map of the Southwest. You can see the shit, all over. There ain't a place that probably wasn't covered in magma and lava at one point down there. As well as what I was saying earlier at the beginning. Look at all the different, fracking facilities, right? These different rigs that they have set up, and you'll notice, you can follow them. They go all the way around the different faults. Every single one. You look at the faults, that's where the fracking's at. And this is like this worldwide, not just in America, but worldwide. And I believe it's because they were trying to allow energy to release easier. Maybe to lessen the destruction, or maybe so you would fall off in the fucking ocean. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just saying, one of the two, maybe both, who knows? And you see here. There's the summit. There's the activity. Right there. This thing's getting ready to pop, dude. Pretty simple. The main shock characteristics and location are consistent with past swarms in the Mount Hood area, including magnitude 4.5 on June 29th, 2002, which was located approximately 1 mile east of the magnitude 3.9. Aftershocks will likely continue for hours or days, some of which may be felt, the CBO said. And at this time, seismologists at the Cascades Volcano Observatory and Pacific Northwest Seismic Network do not believe that this swarm signifies a change in volcanic hazard at Mount Hood, but will continue to monitor the swarm and will issue further updates as the situation warrants. Seismicity at Mount Hood is primarily characterized by fairly intense swarms of micro-earthquakes, which typically occur about 4 to 7 or 2.5 or 4.3 miles south of the summit. And over 3/4 of the earthquakes that were located in the Mount Hood during the 90s occurred in these types of swarms, according to the network. And these swarms usually last for a few hours to a couple of days and have had as many as 50 well-located earthquakes and as few as 4. And them keeping you updated, shit, bro. You go depend on them if you want. I'm not. right? I'm not. Matter of fact, we've seen this quite a bit. Wherever these volcanoes are, they won't raise the level or create warnings or anything until it's already killed people usually. They've had people visiting volcanoes throughout the world as they're blowing out steam and shit, and they're saying, "Oh, it's just releasing steam." No, it's fucking erupting, bro. And it's getting ready to pop. This is the crazy shit they do, man. They hide everything because if they put everything right out in the open, even though most people think so compartmentalized, I mean they do, right? And we've talked about how the mind control, right? The MK Ultra trauma-based mind control. What it actually does is sever those connections in the brain, which, once you've severed those through traumatic experience over and over and over, it's severing the connections and you're losing memory, right? So you can't connect the dots. You can't see the big picture. You can't see the forest for the trees because you're watching murder and all of that shit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's why they pump the fear and trauma and all of that, into your TV and the movies and all of that, right? Or we could even look at it on a different level, right? It's also like, quantum entanglement essentially too, right? Because where you create that trauma is also where you have, remember, two sides of your brain, right? One is the artificial identity and one is the real you, right? So whenever they have conflict, right, or trauma, a traumatic experience, there's that entanglement, right? There's that connection point. That's what they're trying to do with all of this. Every one of us. And it creates these altars, right? Check this out. This one, Jacksonville, USA. Let me make sure you guys have sound before I go ahead and start showing some videos. Okay. Let me kill the music here. Let me copyright strike. Look at this fucking shit, man. And see, I'm not very sure on whether or not this is actually two suns. Matter of fact, I don't think it is, just to be honest with you. But what I do think is going on right here in this image, see how it's in front of the power lines right there? Right. What I do think is going on, though, is that our ionosphere is so fucking charged right now. So charged that we're seeing the refraction of the light. Basically, like, it's reflecting off of the magnetic field to the point to where you're seeing optical illusions of more than one star up there, or it'll make like the clouds look like it's behind it. You can attribute this to nanoparticulates if you want. Some people do, right? They say it's geoengineering, and we know that nanoparticulates, what they actually do or can do is bend and refract light, distorting the way an image appears and even making something appear invisible altogether, right? And, geoengineering, solar shield, all of that. We've talked about this too, how it's the filtering out of certain light spectrums. And the reason we see the red and the pink is because it's the longest on the electromagnetic wave light signature, right? So that's the one that gets through. But this is what I mean. You have such a charged ionosphere, right, that is creating almost like a refraction of light. Look at it, man. Right there. Not two suns. It's just creating like a mirror effect now in our skies because there's such a charge into the magnetic field. It doesn't mean there's not multiple objects up there, by the way. It just means that that's not what this is. See? See how it's in front of the power line? See what I'm saying? That's a refraction, right? That's a refraction. But it's a good catch nonetheless. Once again, see? Same effect. That's what looks like this fucking mirror right here. There's probably an object crossing behind this, and its magnetism is actually absorbing some of the light. So you see the light escaping in the shape of the object around it, right? Coming out, because whatever magnetic pull or charge the object has, very obviously, I believe, is contrary to the one being given off by the sun. See? See what I'm saying? There's probably an object right behind here, and one could say that this is an artificial light. even, and that's why it's spreading out across these clouds, because they've been chemtrailed, right? Those nanoparticulates, creating that same effect that will naturally happen with the magnetic field as it's charged from, the different celestial events taking place. But whatever's behind it is absorbing some of that light, right? It's magnetically pulling it, and that's why you see this big dark dingy spot all the way behind it, and it's in the shape of a ring. This isn't fucking icicles, dude, or swamp gas, whatever the fuck they're telling you. That's nonsense. It's stupid. It don't even make no sense. And then you get this mirror effect because the light's coming out from behind, like it's refracting around the object. See? Lensing systems, I don't know about that. I just think it's the bending of light. See, look at that. See how it's all spread out across the clouds? Like refracting off the clouds too, because they're so charged as well. This is what I mean. The shit's got nowhere to go now. So whenever you think about the ancients and why they were terrified of lightning, I think you're about to find out, homie. I'm not even playing. Like, I think you're about to find out, and I think I am too. Remember, just a few short months ago, 42 people killed in a lightning storm. And then all the propaganda talking about how China has plasma bombs that can strike a single man. They're prepping you for this shit, man. They know what's coming. They know what's coming. And those of you dumbasses that, fall for the main agenda taking place right now, if you don't get smoked by that, you're going to get smoked by this probably if your magnetic field isn't on point. Remember, your heart generates the largest electromagnetic field of any part of your body, and it also has brain cells, a 6-foot radius, right? And your brain, your pineal, is the magnetic pole of your body. And that's why these nanoparticulates, once they get inside of our system, grow up our spine into our brain, because they're growing towards our magnetic center, which is the pineal, or the place of God, right? Or the third temple, right? Where the abomination of desolation now is, for some. Not me. Hopefully not you either. But for some, right? And this, if we think about it, and if space really is this whole firmament thing where you have the water separated above and below, then what we're seeing with these fireballs, this is also, and this is, I haven't heard anybody else say this, but so it doesn't mean it's true or not true. This is just my theory or hypothesis, I guess, on why we see fireballs. I believe this whole cycle I talk about, how just like you see auroras, right? The ionized gas that creates these colors, right? Across the ionosphere, magnetic field, same thing. Concentrated enough, we actually see, just like when storm clouds, drop down and create tornadoes. Same concept, but with plasma and electricity. That's what these are. That this is concentrated gas that's like almost clumped up or turned to plasma and is now falling back down, like from this cycle of energy. That there's nothing actually probably coming from outer space, because outer space is the abyss. It's the outer psyche of the collective consciousness. We're under the firmament, co-creating and manifesting all of this here. Yes, we're attracting things to us. But the reason I think space is empty is because we're not there. I think we're the center of all this shit. We're the center of creation. All this revolves around us because we are the fractals, the pieces of God. Look at that. Don't know what the hell is going on right there. But you see the fireball, or some people call it the Dave Dobbs object. It's not a good description. I mean, I love Dave Dobbs. He's been on the show before, and he's brilliant with what he does. But these are multiple objects, guys. These are bunches and bunches and bunches of fireballs. And what you're seeing is probably the gas that's burning off in the back here. The ass of this thing, right? The tail is probably iron oxide creating that orangish glow. Just like when you see a green fireball in the sky, it's cyan green because it's cyanide. And remember in the 1900s when, I'm trying to think of the one, I think it was Inky that went past and took place supposedly, allegedly, contributing to Spanish flu and Black Death and all of that. They used stereoscopic evidence to find out what each of these objects were made of, right, as they passed. And it was according to the color. So they tell you at NASA that everything's a fucking ball of ice. Well, it doesn't even make sense. If that were true, then they all wouldn't burn different colors. And it just so happens, too, that just like Kinetic X, right, the rocket burns green, right, as it takes off because it has different chemicals within it that is creating the combustion. The barium oxide, right, which is in the sky. Now watch the fireballs falling down and they're burning fucking green, right? So they're either cyanide or they're burning through the barium that has been blanketed over through the chemtrailing. One of the two, and probably a combination of the both, right? And then when you see these coming through burning orange or burning red, this is, arsenic, sulfur, all of these things. That's what determines the color of these. And I don't know what the fuck is shooting through this thing. I don't know if you guys can see that at home. Y'all see this bitch at home? Here, let me... Does anybody know what in the hell that is, man? Here, let me move my chat over here. When he was driving home from work at 8:30 p.m., the sky was so red, like Campbell's soup red, that you was confirmed about the red dragon. It says, take care. It was red lightning, big storm on the horizon. Yeah, those are sprites, is what you're seeing. The red lightning, that's sprites. That's the, more than likely, it's the methane that's burning up in the atmosphere, right? It burns down. Or you see the ground to sky lightning. This is what I'm saying. It's a transference of energy, a cycle of energy. So when we see those sprites burning down, those electrical particles in the sky are lighting up, dude, and burning all the way down, dude. I'm telling you, you're going to see this all the way across the planet. You ever seen like one of those fucking globes? Like, I don't know if you guys have this in your state or whatever. There's a place called COSI in Columbus. It's like this big science, center. And they have like these big giant balls of static electricity. And you can put your hand on it and you see like the electricity like going all the way around the ball. And wherever somebody's touching, that's where it pulls up to. That's what's going to happen here. That's what's going to happen here. We're going to be so charged that electricity coming up from the ground everywhere, the ground to sky lightning, the sprites, that wherever these objects are is where you're going to see the concentration of plasma and lightning. Lithium sky, yeah, no doubt. What is that? Radio waves penetrate the stratosphere. Absolutely. And guess what? This is the thing too. Yeah, Tesla coil. Mark, that's exactly what it actually is. A Tesla coil. That's but what I'm talking about, I forget what they call them, but that's what they are. It's essentially a Tesla coil. They got a real name, official name. I'm just a fucktard though. I don't know what the hell is shooting through this thing as it goes past though. You think that there is red iron oxide dust? Wormwood. Okay, well, let me just clarify, too, that the wormwood thing would be more akin to what I'm talking about as opposed to the red iron oxide. Wormwood, if we're burning cyan green, right, as we go through the sky, or even the barium oxide, let's say it's artificial and it's burning through the chemtrails, then the wormwood means bitter or poisoned or radiated, right? So think about that. Cyanide is a poison. That would be the wormwood, right? So this thing probably is not going to be blistering as red maybe the whole time, or what's coming off of it may not be red. The dragon itself might be, but remember, these are just frequencies of light that are being emitted from the energy that's escaping from the object. This is a star. The star in a jar concept, right? As the negativity, the inside collapses, the outside is expanding and giving off the light, emitting the light. So if we see this thing red and in space, it's because that is the light wave that comes through the ionosphere. Remember, it's got the longest, electrical signature, and that's why we see it. Look at that. Look at that, dude. I have no clue what this is, man. I don't know who the fuck caught this, but that's crazy as shit. Something shooting right and through it, man. Right through it. And then this is a refraction too, right? This is because it's a lens, and it's a lens in the camera. A lot of people say, this is just a flare. This is not real. Well, let me tell you something, homie. A flare is just light being reflected from one lens to another, right? So this thing is an original image. You're going to see in just a second. If it was just a bullshit, anomaly or something, we would be able to tell the difference. But this is going to have surface features on it, and it's about to rotate because it's being refracted through the lenses and bounce back out here, so it's being picked up by the camera. Watch it orbit. Look at that. Just like the broken fucking sphere in front of the Vatican, too. Just saying. Those serpent worshipping bastards are not just worshipping evil demons. They're worshipping planets, and they're probably one and the same, if you think about it. Right? Because Saturn is Satan. Apophis. Right? The god of chaos and darkness. Ra is Marduk, is Jupiter. Look at that, man. You see the surface features on that? See what I'm saying? That's a real object. You're just seeing the refraction of it. That's not the actual object. It's bouncing off of the camera lens and projecting back outwardly. And then check this out. This is a wild one too. 2 minutes before sunrise. Say what? 1 minute before sunrise? Say what? What the fuck? Yeah, that's wild shit in it. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me pull it out a little bit. This is what I'm talking about. Not that. Where it's showing the light. See the red behind it? Right? Coming up from behind the sun. This is what I mean. Right? The ionizing deal going on and the refracting of the light. Right? And that's why it looks like there's clouds behind the fucking sun and shit. Guys, the world is changing so fast. I mean, I don't know how people don't notice this stuff, but, whatevs. Keep watching as the clouds move. And this is two objects here. And you can already see, let me just make sure I'm right before I go and open my mouth, but you can see what looks like stripes within right here, dude. I think there is a massive object behind all of this, in my opinion. But you can see two objects coming out of right here. Let me scooch it up here. There, bam, see it? See the second light source right there? Right there, and you see the smoke? You see that? See how dark and gray that is? That's smoke, man. Right? You ever seen like some shit burning? Right? Some shit burning. It's all like wispy and shit, right? And gray. Like, especially if you're like burning plastic or something with chemicals in it. Same type of thing. Same type of thing. You can see one object down here. See? See another right here, right? And once again, the electromagnetism causing it to flash out, right? Into the clouds right here. And there even looks like there's something going on back here, but I'm not going to say that there is or there isn't. And these waves are being created from electromagnetic waves too. Motherfucker snapping. See? Do you see what I'm saying? See how that cloud's flooded out? The light's just like bouncing right off of it. This is what I mean. Right? This is what I mean. This is a perfect example. Right here. There's something up above it too, by the way. But this is what I mean. Right there. You can see it. That's the light flooding off of that thing, refracting off of that thing, and it's making it appear like, and think about it. If you're trying to occult something and hide an object in the sky, right? If you put, let's say, nanoparticles or something in the clouds, right? Well, wouldn't it be perfect? Because it would do this effect every time that a magnetic object went behind it. It would stretch out right across it. That's why the sun gets bigger and smaller and looks all funky all the time. Because that's exactly what they've done. Right? They don't need big fucking lensing systems and all of this, man. They just know how to bend the light, bro. It's really simple. Check this out. This is one of those fails right here. See what I mean? How big it is? Now watch. There's a couple videos on this one. See it? See? See that ring right there behind it too? That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's objects behind this. It's refracting the light, and that's artificial light, in my opinion. Or it could be because we're getting ready to go nova. One of the two, right? Because we know that in the process of going nova, and there you go. There's your perfect example right there, right? Artificial light probably, and the actual object right here, right? Creating this big ring or this big halo. No fucking icicles or shit like that. Come on, man. Right? And if we think about the concept of the whole recurring micronova and what the Bible even says, right? Like, the heavens and the earth will pass away with a terrible noise and fervent heat. To me, that's like saying, you know, something really hot incinerates everything. It's like where it don't exist anymore. You know what I mean? And that terrible noise would be just like the different trumpet shit that we see. Right? Where's it at here? Got a trumpet video for you. It's only vibration of the magnetic field, right? Because of the frequencies being altered from the push and pull of magnetism, it creates like a ripple, right? Which that vibration makes a noise, and that's the trumpets, right? So as the system actually locks onto the earth, remember, we're experiencing magnetic repulsion right now, right? It's magnetic repulsion at the moment. So it's pushing away. And let me pull up a image to show you. That way you can just see what I'm talking about. Maybe. Yeah, I need this one here. Right here. This one. See? This is from 2019, but it works. This is the negative polarity, right? The round object with wings. And now look what it's doing to the positive polarity. It's repelling them. See? It's splitting them in two, right? Because it's repelling them. See? North Pole, it's repelling them. And it's pushing them together right here in Siberia, right? So when this thing's other pole locks onto us. So as it's coming up from under the ecliptic, up and around the sun, it's like our opposite. It's repelling us, pushing our poles the other way, creating the slight perturbation and the tilt in the axis. That's why we got the 20 to 29 degrees north-northeast right now. That's why the 180 degree confounding of the moon. That's why all that, right? But as this thing's other pole gets a hold of us, all of a sudden, instead of us being pushed from underneath, it's going to latch on from the mid-Atlantic ridge and pull down, like all at once. That's why people in Africa see the sun stand still in the sky during the passing of the destroyer. Or the moon will look like it's getting jerked out of the sky in the northern hemisphere, right? This is why, because it's going to latch onto us from its other magnetic pole, and it's going to pull down, creating well, some people believe anywhere from like a 22 to 24 degree tilt in the axis, and that's if we're a spinning ball. Probably not. It doesn't matter, because in the Bible, when it talks about the turning over of all of this, it means literally like to till soil. So like the lifting up and turning, right? And that's what would happen with the magnetic reversal or the pole shift. It's not the earth flipping upside down. It's just the magnetism, the polarity changing. And when it does, everything is magnetized, right? Everything is magnetism, dude. And everything that is magnetized will pull up and turn over according to the new magnetic polarity of the field, right? So that's what will take place in the sixth seal. When those trumpets are ripping, it's because of the vibration of the magnetic pull or push on the ionosphere. What is that? I don't know if this dude is fucking with people or not, but I mean, I've got videos that, with the trumpet, even if the dude's full of shit. So you'll have that sometimes, right? Sometimes. And there you go. Right there. And that's what I mean. See, you can see like the darkened circle, right? That's because of the magnetism of the big round object behind it. You see what I mean? And think about in a binary system, and hypothetically, some people believe there's no sun simulator, and I can see why they would go with that, because this has happened a bunch of times, and that would mean that there were sun simulators every fucking time this thing happened, right? So it's not the humans doing it, even if there is, right? It would be the watchers or the angels that are actually throwing that shit up there, trying to deceive you, the archons. And if there is no sun simulator, the reason that the sun is turning white is because it's taking on that neutron star, that dwarf star, right? Its binary companion, as it's coming through, right? Remember, it's on an elliptical orbit, and it's going out towards the Kuiper belt, the trans-Neptunian objects, and those two big red wings that are coming off that dragon are the iron oxide and shit burning off of that star, right? And it's dragging a 20 million mile long tail of dust, debris, and trash and bullshit behind it, because it's absorbing negativity or negatively charged things, right? Like matter, right? Like darkness, like your evil ass, probably, right? And as it's pulling all those things and dragging it, it's bringing it into the sun. And as it goes around the sun, it's depositing, right, energy and bullshit into our star, Sol, which is positively charged, right? So you got the positive and the negative. And what happens is it goes from that golden yellow in its calm, chilling state, right, just hanging out, chilling, to all of a sudden when those new particles are added to the star, it then starts to cool down first and starts to look white. And then as it's cooking all of that shit that's been deposited in it, transferring into it, back out of it, it turns blue, then red as it heats up, and then black. And that's why the sun will be black like sackcloth made of hair, because it's a hard black shell on the outside before it, boom, explodes right? Sending all of those elements back out into the system, and that could be the reason for the Kuiper belt. That could be the cosmic wave that's been sent from the sun going nova, or the asteroid belt. Even that could be what blew the fucking atmosphere off of Mars. That could be, which remember. Also, they talk about, and what text was we looking at? And it was in Immanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision, right? And they were talking about how the Earth turned red, right? Just like Mars before all this stuff happened the last time. Well, guess what? The Earth looks red from satellites right now. Once again, the Doomsday Glacier breaking and sending tsunamis towards the northern hemisphere. Well, guess what? Doomsday Glacier is getting ready to bust out again. The sun going into this chaotic maximum shift, right? Or its highest chakra for you bunheads, right? As solar cycle 25 and this higher than expected or anticipated maximum that's happening right now. And this is where we get all the coronal mass ejections, the solar flares, the geomagnetic storms, all of it, right? Happening now. Right? And this is what's sending all the G1, C7 shit, right? Where we're getting all this disturbances, and they come in the form of electrical disturbances where Kamala Harris has to park her plane, or, electrical ham radio blackouts in the South Atlantic. This type of shit. This is what takes place. Or, right, the reason why Trump hardened the grid against electromagnetic pulse, because he knew that this shit was going to be coming in. Matter of fact, they're even doing stuff like telling people about quasars and all of this, because we know that the Nemesis system actually does that, right? It pulses like a quasar, giving off that gamma radiation, right? Or at least the blue Kachina does, in my opinion, right? And it's part of the transformation process before the red or the purifier comes in and actually acts like a dust buster and sucks in everything, right? That hasn't been changed. So, and this is, you're seeing the negativity right behind there. It's all cracking right now, dude. I don't know what the hell this is, and I can't read the language either, so somebody gonna have to hit me to this. Is that real? Is that real, yo? Is that real? Did that just happen? What the fuck is that? It reminds me of like that bridge on Thor, right? A little rainbow bridge and shit. Like we're getting one here on Earth or something. What in the hell is that, man? That is strange. Anybody know what that is? Chat? Anybody know what the hell that is? You feel that that's not real? It could not be. You think that's fifth generation doing that? A code? It does look like that, don't it? Like a Morse code, like beep 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 beep. Yeah, it looks like a Morse code, man. That's what it does look like. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, somebody decipher this code. Somebody decipher this code and tell me what it's saying. Not real. Yeah, it could not be real. Somebody's saying fifth generation. I don't know if fifth generation technology is actually truly real. I don't know if there's a fifth generation internet, is what I'm saying. I don't know about that. I do know that these nanoparticles, these nanoparticulates, these nanofibers actually are manipulated by radio frequency. You know what I'm saying? Radio frequency? RF? Right? So it's like a little distraction, like look over here, right, at my focused directed energy beam, but I'm going to use a 1960 radio frequency to actually do my dirt, right? Like it's distraction. And if you think about the whole millimeter wave concept, it wouldn't even be like feasible, right? Because it's such a focused, concentrated beam of energy, right? Granted, it does work for like weapons and stuff to manipulate objects and move things and make the water molecules in your body rotate like a microwave, right? Those kind of things. Pain rays, death rays, whatever you want to call them, crowd control, that stuff. But for them to blanket, the sky with satellites, right, that are in low Earth orbit, and everything's in low Earth orbit because ain't nobody's ass getting past the firmament, right? So it's all up there somewhere, right? It's not going nowhere. That's why we have so much space debris, because we can't leave this fish tank. But if you think about it, right, like it would be impossible, right? Like it would have to be like some like a sci-fi Skynet type of thing, to where there was basically not an inch of the sky not covered with this stuff. And they use Doppler radar to manipulate the geoengineered clouds, a lot of people believe, and the process of HARP bouncing the lasers or the energy back down off the ionosphere into the ground, creating earthquakes and all this shit. So I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't think that the whole fifth generation stuff is actually happening the way that they're saying. It wouldn't make sense. And why else would they put something in people that is magnetized the same way that DARPA was experimenting on beetles using radio frequency to control them once they had a magnetized ID in them, and they had nanofiber injected into them. Then the radio frequency was then able to send and emit signals and receive signals to the beetle, and they could control it like a remote controlled car, right? So now imagine what's happening to all the humans. And that's why it's so important that everybody join me during our private shows, because that's the stuff we really try to talk about the most and concentrate on and break down, because a lot of people give you one little piece here and there. They want to breadcrumb you to death with all this stuff. But sometimes you just need to connect all the dots, and you need to see the whole picture. That way you can understand the shit and how it works and why they're doing this or why they're doing that and what you can do to counter it, And that's what we do on Best Damn Fam Live, right? Our private shows on Discord is we talk about these things. I can't even say it. Like I sound like I'm goofy or something, because I can't even say what I want to say about what I'm trying to talk about. And that's insane. That's insanity. And it's not because I'm hateful and giving hate speech. It's not because I'm giving medical misinformation or disinformation at all. It's because it's not the approved, propagated agenda, right, or narrative that through the Smith-Mund Act being repealed, right, is now legal to be deployed on the masses. That's why. I'm telling the truth, and that's why I can't say it. That's why I can't tell you. Because if I did, you would get hip to what was taking place. You would stop trusting in these bullshit structures of the system. You would stop depending on things outside of yourself. And you would start looking at yourself for what you really are. Right? Didn't Christ in Psalms, didn't I say that ye are gods? Right? He was quoting Psalms. Didn't I say that ye are gods? Right? Gods mean supreme ones, supreme magistrates. Elohim, right? It's the sons of God, sons of the Most High. Your angels, your stars, your heavenly host, and you're trapped in here, and you're being harvested for your life force, your energy, your soul, right? This is one big giant, manipulation to convince you that this is you. This physical, phantom, projection, and illusion is you. And just like when we think about, Sky Dome Atlantis and that whole stuff with Andrew and what they're doing with the Centelli telescope method, acting as a crystal ball to refract the light to be able to see outside of the firmament and see through the firmament. Same thing going the other direction, right? We would be the holographic projections on the inside of the glass. And that's exactly what the Bible says. When we're made in his image, it means a phantom, a projection, an illusion, an idol, right? An idol. When people really underestimate how powerful of a being you really are, everything that we see, I say it a lot because I want it to sink in. The universe is you inverted. So everything you see is a projection of you, right? You're projecting out, and that's what you're seeing, is what you're emitting. You're the star in a jar. And let me just hit the refresher here for those who don't know what I'm talking about. It takes about 20 seconds, and you'll understand the mysteries of the universe.
It's a process called sonoluminescence.
The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid.
Spherical flask of fluid. And the heavenly expanse, right, separating the waters of the firmament above from the waters here, right? And then what happens when all of this comes to being and the revealing in the apocalypse? It says the artificial basins, the mysteries or the secrets of the artificial basins are revealed. That's the oceans, dude. The arch or the heavenly expanse, you'll shine like the brightness of the heavenly expanse. The wise will shine like the brightness of the heavenly expanse. That's the firmament. See, like, you are made of light. You are sound. That's what's got your... Sound is just a vibration of light. Right? Creating that vibration, emitting a sound. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Watch. This is it. This is it. You don't need to go study the fucking Big Bang. You don't got to study nothing. Right here. This is the key to it all.
And you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. Looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God.
And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second.
The vapor molecules slam together, just like what's happening right now, right? Those different spectrums of light are actually mutating your DNA. That's why every, soil level on the earth, everything gets wiped the fuck out all at one time. And then it arises again with a new cycle, and it's mutated. It's different. It's been transfigured, right? Transformed or changed. When you see him, You will be like him. Well, what is he? Is he a star? Are you a star? The Lord of hosts, the heavenly host, the host body. They have put a star in a body. That's it. That's it. That collapse is a collapse of reality you see around you right now. I explain it like the drop tile ceiling, right? Like each one of us are one little tile in the ceiling. As we awaken, one falls out. All around us, and that now there's a hole, right? It's weaker. They start to wake up and fall out. And it's just reality crumbling in on itself. Because we hold it together. We are co-creating the reality. We are manifesting the reality. We are attracting things to us and inverting them back out, projecting them back out. The universe is us inverted. You inverted. Projecting. You are the star in a jar. The jar is the firmament. And your body. Because it's micro and macro. Right? And your pineal, and so on and so forth. You know, and people make things so complicated. But this is it. And the separation of the wheat from the tares, right? The ones collapsing, right, would be the tares. The wheat would be the expansion, right? The ascension. That's you. As the darkness collapses, the light expands. It's the laws of creation. The rules.
Let's pull the 2-seat out, baby.
They're going to hit you with some Rick Ross. But you can see right there, his red ass hanging out on the horizon, low on the horizon. That doesn't even necessarily mean that's the nemesis star either. Remember, guys, the recurring micronova, what happens to the sun? Right? Red before what? Black, right? The sun will turn black as sackcloth made of hair, and the moon to blood. This is light, guys. That's all it is. Magnetism, light. It's crazy. Crazy! Craziness! But, you know, neither here nor there, right? People don't believe me. And you see here, we're surrounded by fire. What's happening? It's coming from above and below. The transference of energy.
Hold tight, this is third phase of the moon, breaking news.
Third phase of the moon. Let me tell you, this is heavy duty. We got to keep an eye out because we're being surrounded. Left, right.
Wildfires all over the West Coast, the ring of fire. This is that energy escaping from beneath our feet. Both ways, man. Both ways. And hopefully they didn't burn up in that, you know? Hopefully.
Extremely important announcement, and I want you to please pay attention about the information I'm about to give you. The other day I noticed last year the sun, when it goes down to sunset, it goes through my trees where I sit, and I looked out the window and it was not there. It's there every year. The sun has moved north approximately 40 degrees. And I was talking with a wonderful brother from Pennsylvania.
And remember, I was telling you that it was going north to northeast, 20 to 29 degrees. Now, this gentleman is saying 40 degrees. right? And that the sun has moved north. He would be correct in a way, but it's not the sun that's moved, man. It's us, right? The sun ain't moved at all. It's us. Everything orbits us, right? So as we wobble, as we perturbate to and fro like a drunkard, the earth will reel to and fro like a drunkard, right? Everything around us will appear to be off. Everything around us will rise in different places. And remember, this is how you know that you are in the appointed time, right? Because all of the celestial bodies, they follow, right? Their laws and their order, right? That the Creator gives to them. And when they stop, you know that the age is over, right? When they start obeying different laws or not following the originals. Let's take a look here. And yeah, here, let me show you this real fast. Asteroid blast more powerful than Hiroshima. Overseas almost triggered a nuclear war. On June 6, 2002, an asteroid crashed into the atmosphere over the Mediterranean, causing a nuclear bomb-sized explosion. If it happened in a specific place, it could have triggered a nuclear war. Yes. You guys know I talk about how different parts of the earth have been turned to fucking glass, man. Right? Or the $10 and $100 bill and the whole Jonathan Kleck thing where he shows how, it looks like a blast of like the evil winds from the Lost Book of Inky, right? Nuclear blast and then a tsunami that hits New York, right? And we talk about how I believe it's going to hit up by the Atlantic. This asteroid will impact up by the Atlantic, and that's why that will happen. That's why you have all the deep impact and all of the different things that are predictive programming. And there is no such thing as nuclear bombs. Fusion and fission wouldn't exist in an electromagnetic universe. Everything would be all plasmatic and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like everything they're telling you is a lie. What makes more sense? So they say, hey, Russia's got submarines that hang out by the shorelines and shoot missiles that send tsunamis. Okay. China has plasma bombs that strike a single man from the sky in a big plasma strike. Everybody now has hypersonic missiles that can't be stopped by missile defense systems, and they behave like meteors. All of these things that conveniently would match an electromagnetic creation. It would explain it all. And it would say that we're not in control of shit, of nil. And they are capitalizing on every event to keep you in the dark, to keep you sleeping a little bit longer. That way you don't figure out what is actually going on. You don't straighten your ass up and treat people decent. It's that simple. You don't have to be holy, pious. Oh, I don't cuss and I don't do this and this. Come on, man. Quit pretending. Quit. Stop pretending to be religious. You're not. And even if you are, that's fake. Right? Get away from me, you doers of iniquity. I never knew you. But didn't we cast out demons in your name? Didn't we perform miracles in your name? Or why do you call me teacher? You never followed my teachings. Do you see? Like, the whole pious, fake, religious crap gots to go, man. It's got to go. We just got to treat others and Christ, right? He didn't come to give a new command, but an old one. One from the beginning. And it fulfilled the entirety of the law. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart and soul. And love one another as I have loved you. Or love one another as you love yourself. And to love yourself is to love God. Because you are a piece of God. To know yourself is to know God. Right? So, to love you is to love me. To love me is to love you. To forgive me is to forgive you. Right? To judge you is to judge me. This is how it works. The same measure you judge others, you will be judged. You're starting to see? The rules don't change. They don't change. There's still an exchange going on. Right? Whether it's our will and intent or it's something up in the sky, it doesn't matter. We are here, and think about it. Cast my net, my magnetic field in the last days, gathering together mine, refining them by the fires of affliction, purifying them like gold. Gold is spirit, gold is the heavens, right? Purifying them like gold. Shining like the sun, that's also gold. It's a star, it's light, making them into light, transfiguring their darkness into light. That's what's happened, right? That's what's happened. To everybody shifting, right? You're the expansion. To the people going the other way, they're the collapse, the star in the jar. There is nothing new under the sun. This is happening over and over and over and over again. And how many trips have you probably been here for and you still don't fucking get it? Still want to walk around a church pretending to be all holy and stuff. Just be you, man. Because if you ain't good enough the way you are, then you just ain't good enough. For you, nobody else. God knows how you are. He made you. Did he make a mistake or you? You know? Consider it. Consider the electromagnetic field connected directly to us in our field. It's called the Schumann resonance, right? And the earth is at a frequency of the equivalence to love, right? So if this purifier, this destroyer, judgment day, right? When the world is rid of its negativity, its evil, its darkness. If you are in a place of love, peace, calm, right? If you're comfortable with yourself, if you forgive yourself, if you love yourself, you'll do it to everyone around you, right? And this thing's going to pass over. Right? It's going to pass over and not touch you. Right? Though 1,000 will fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, you will only observe with your eyes. Right? You're here to witness. Right? That's why you're killed by the word of your testimony. That means the evidence being presented. We will judge the angels. Because we are the angels. Just saying. More or less. More or less. There are 25,000 asteroids out there, and NASA proved we can't stop a single one. ESA spacecraft to rush towards asteroid to see how NASA deflection mission went. I got an idea. Probably not very well. And I went to try to look up the NEOs, and the data server responded with a shit message and wouldn't let me see them. The next 5 approaches, the approximate size, house size today, 726,000 miles away, 2021 LK. Then we have coming up on the 11th, the day after, the Ring of Fire, 98 feet, approximate size, 2021 KZ2, 2,910,000 miles. Approximate size, 120 feet on the 12th, 2,630,000 miles. 590 feet. Whoo! And this one's strange, man. The name is, let me show you something. 2010 NY65. NY65. 2010 NY65. New York. Strange, ain't it? And then look. 44 1987. See, look. 44 19187. Right? Like the 144 441, right? And then 987. It's so strange, man. I'm just saying. Strange numbers in these. And then 65, right? Which would be 11. Like 9/11 type of thing. New York, though. It's a weird one, guys. And that's on the 25th. 2 plus 5 is 7. Right? Solar cycle 25. Trump, 7. Trumpets, 7. Seals, 7. Right? Just saying. 470 feet, 2,890,000 on July 1st, 2021 GM4. Let's see what ends up happening with this NY65, because it's about 4 million miles away the Nemesis system's supposed to pass, and this is about a 600-foot asteroid. NY65, I believe, like, we will see an asteroid, just like the Bible says. It says, like a large millstone thrown into the sea, with that same force, Babylon will be thrown down, right? And we see the third of the earth burned up, the green grass burned up, and then what? The mountains set ablaze, thrown into the sea. They were telling us when they started all this with C-19 Atlas, Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Survey, Atlas of the Atlantic. They're telling us where it's going to hit. They're telling us how it's going to happen. I'm trying to keep it real here. It may sound like a bunch of conspiracy nonsense to you, but watch my videos. Ring of Fire, intense quakes, Salton Sea, drought ravages California reservoirs, record low levels expected this summer. Historic storm brings up to 5 meters or 16 feet of snow. New Zealand. Delhi sees the coldest June day amid the streak of record-breaking weather since August. Powerful tornado hits Shaanxi, damaging 168 homes and wreaking havoc on farmlands in China's Hongjiang province. Massive sinkhole opens in southeastern Mexico. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is it, dude. It's all aligning. It's all happening. And the earth is acting funky as shit right now. Right? And the governments are going to pretend that we're going to have a global war. Right? Nostradamus even says it, right? The rockets and stuff, the gods will present a horrible war, right? The noctilucent cloud season getting longer, clouds moving farther south. Yeah, because it's nonsense. Supervolcanic eruption at Toba destroyed ozone layer, causing population bottleneck. Right, we have the largest hole in the ozone in history over the Arctic. Right, Finland basks in the unusual heat, while the cold prevails in parts of Eastern Europe. Earthquake swarm under Mount Hood, Oregon. New study solves a mystery behind Earth's deepest earthquakes. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Just like the mystery of, what was the planet, guys? That they said the pieces of the planet, Theta, whatever, that is in the core now. World's longest recorded earthquake lasted for 32 years. I'm sure it did. 32. Invert it, it's 23. The game 23. Scientists identify new atmospheric circulation over the Arctic. New atmospheric circulation over the Arctic. Remember, I always talk about the cyclonic wind, right? This is what they're talking about right here over the Arctic, right? It's coming up under the ecliptic, guys. This is where it all pops off from. It's from the Arctic. That's why the governments are really there. Who knows? Maybe the Earth is hollow. Historic storm brings up to 16 feet. Ushuaia, hit by the heaviest snowfall in more than 20 years. Argentina, And stunning drone video of the eruption site in Iceland, magnitude 6, hits Indonesia and powerful tornado, and China. Yeah, man. Let's take a look here real fast possible. Far side sunspots. NASA Stereo A spacecraft is monitoring a bright UV hotspot on the far side of the sun. It could be significant sunspot group, and if so, we will see its dark cores rotating over the sun's southeastern limb in a few days. And remember, we are a star too. So our sunspots are hurricanes, right? It's the same principle, same concept. That's what I mean, guys. Everything, micro, macro, right? It's all the same, man. It's all the same. Sunrise, solar eclipse, and when these sunrises over the northeastern Canada and USA on Thursday morning, something will be missing, a big piece of the sun. There's a sunrise solar eclipse, and this map from GreatAmericanEclipse.com shows who can see it. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? We'll be missing the sunrise here. And this is over that same X, guys. You guys will remember I showed that, right, from the Great American Eclipse. There it is right there. There it is, painting the big X. Right, there's the annular eclipse, October 14th, 2023. That's the last one, right, of the 7-year tribulation. And the total solar, April 8th, 2024. That will be the final solar. All right. And where's it at? Wrong way. Bam. See? That's what they're doing. That's what they're counting too. Why are they counting the same shit we're counting? Huh? Look, this is just from the last day. Quakes, guys. Last day. Look at that. Activity, supervolcano in Alaska, Pacific Northwest, right? Right down into the subduction zone. Juan de Fuca going into San Andreas, coming back up into Yellowstone. And then we even got some activity, and this is probably tacked up to the higher activity. We go 7 days. You'll see. There that craton is. There it is. Right, slowing current system in the Atlantic spells trouble. The potential disruption of the Atlantic current system. Big gamble, planetary scale. Dude, I'm telling you, y'all better wake your ass up, man. This ain't no joke. Ain't no joke. 7 asteroids zooming past Earth this week, and one's the size of a skyscraper. Yeah. Potentially hazardous asteroid zoom past Earth on Tuesday, and it's not the only one. In total, 7 asteroids are expected to pass by our planet by the end of the week. The largest of the asteroids in 2020 KT1, and that happened 600 feet, the size of the Seattle Space Needle. Taller than Washington Monument. However, scientists believe it could be as large as 1,049 feet, comparative in size to New York City's Chrysler Building. The asteroid classified by NASA potentially hazardous asteroid. And that one did pass. 2021 KT1 came within 4.5 million miles of the Earth, relatively close encounter, and it flew past at 40,000 miles per hour, according to the scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's only potentially hazardous in the long term, has no chance of impacting the Earth this week or any time within the next 2 centuries. And this is what I mean. They don't know where the fuck these things are. They're making these numbers up, y'all. The 40,000, I'm telling you, they make this stuff up. Go look at the Bible, 66 books, 40 years, 33, 144, right? This is what they do with everything. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, actually, guys. I do appreciate everybody. Can I have a mod? Yes, you may. Let me, I'm going to have to actually do it after the show, but you're over on Trovo. Yeah, thank you. I have nobody on Trovo, so thank you so much. Yeah, I'll add you after the show. Yeah, so everybody, if you have not, please donate and support for the month of June. This is a new month here, and I don't sell gold. I don't sell survival food. None of that crap, man. And I'm completely viewer powered. This is how I make my living, how I take care of my babies, who would not be quiet last night for me to do the private show. So please, everybody, consider donating, supporting, giving, man. I try to give everything I can for free. I try to let everybody into the private shows and all of that, dude. I really do. I want to create as big of a community and do as much as I can for you guys, because I feel like if I give to you, right, it comes back to me, man. That's how it works, right? So support the truth, man. Support community, support fellowship, support love by, giving today. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, Facebook Messenger. If you have supported and you haven't gotten any links for the month of June, we did one in the first week. Text 513-393-2396, 513-393-2396, or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com. I sent those links out. You should have gotten them already, so text me if you haven't, or email me. Those who belong to the YouTube memberships, Facebook subscription, or join us on Patreon or whatever, everybody at Facebook automatically gets upgraded on Discord and will be able to join us tomorrow night for the Best Damn Fam Live, for the private live show. And I have got some, for real killer stuff to talk about. Some stuff we haven't even begin to scratch the surface on when it comes to this agenda. So it's going to be amazing. I hope all of you will consider joining me tomorrow night. I'll be streaming it live too on Patreon as well, from an unlisted YouTube channel, just for those, and I'm going to have to stick to the different roles too this time, guys, because I can't have my people that are supporting not being able to get in on Discord when the room gets filled up. So I'm going to have to be a little bit more strict on that, because I got to take care of people who take care of me. And I do appreciate those of you who do. Everybody who supports, everybody who watches, everybody who shares, everybody who comments and all that stuff. Thank you so much. I really do. I appreciate it. And I can't tell you, how fulfilling life is when you feel like you're doing something for something bigger than yourself, man. You know what I mean? Everybody else's existence is so fucking small, right? Their whole existence, they're caught in the rat race. Go to work, watch TV, eat, go to sleep, get up, do it again. Their whole existence is about this fucking big, man, because it's only them. It's about them. That's why they're selfish, self-centered, and they don't care that everyone else in the world is suffering and all of this, because they only worry about them. But that's not a gratifying life, is it? Or else they wouldn't be trying to fill that big giant hole inside of them with things, cars, clothes, women, drugs, whatever, right? So we have to understand that service to others really, truly is the highest form of service to self. And if we do something greater than ourselves, what it really does, it makes us become greater. Seriously. If we want to strive for greatness, we have to pursue it. Right? We have to be about that life. We can't just talk it. We have to walk it. We have to do something to make that a reality. Each and every day, man. Each and every moment. It's not about being perfect or being pious and religious. It's just about trying to be a good soul. Good to one another. Loving. And and forgiving. And without judgment. And accepting of everyone, regardless of your differences, regardless of your color, your race, your age, your sex, your sexual orientation, your religion, your political preference. None of that fucking matters, y'all. Let's all divide and conquer. We are all one family, and it's a human family. I promise you. And when we take off these meat suits one day, and we're all kicking it, in the stars and heaven, whatever the hell's on the other side, we're going to be laughing at, everybody who is foolish enough to believe that this was it. This little blip, this little blink compared to an eternity. This is just the beginning. We're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. This is the most important time ever to be alive and to be a part of something. So pursue, you know, be the calling that you know you have within you. You know, this is the moment. Don't wait. This is the appointed time, and you're the appointed person, believe it or not. If not you, then who? I want to thank you guys so much. Watch the mail. Okay, thank you. And that's my Canadian fam right there. See, and that's what I'm saying, man. I got people from Canada, France, and I love all of you guys, man. I cannot tell you, man, how much I appreciate everything. Like, I really do. Join our Discord. It's free for everybody to join. And, dude, you remember, like, how Facebook and stuff used to be where people could post cool stuff? That's what it's like. So join, you know, please, our Discord, and make sure to subscribe and follow on both the YouTube and Facebook and DLive and all of that, because you never know, man. I'm here today, going tomorrow with a lot of this stuff. Please leave a comment, especially after the show's over. YouTube, Facebook, it helps so much to get the video out to more people if you're hitting a like, if you're commenting. And you have to share this. Whatever you're watching on, whatever you hang out on, your social media, please just share it for me, because that's the number one way to help support. It's because it'll help us reach new people. Our community will grow. The Best Damn Fam will get bigger, guys. And I'm telling you, check out the community section. I'm asking people who they'd like to see on the show, what time they'd like to see the live show happen, what other content they would like to see. I'm really, you know, hitting this hard. And I've seen the email from the graphic designer trying to help me with the logo and stuff. I'm working on a new website, guys. I'm telling you, I'm putting in some for real work. This is it, man. I'm going balls deep this year. Excuse my French, but so, you know, it's all or nothing for me, man. That's how I feel about it. So I'm gonna fail really hard and look fantastic while doing so, or I'm gonna succeed, and we're gonna win a lot of people over, you know, and wake a lot of people up, and hopefully a lot of people will be able to bless a lot more people because of it. So thank you guys so much. Comment, share, like, subscribe, and please consider donating, supporting, and text or email to get the link and get the upgraded role tomorrow night. Best Damn Fam Live, private, uncensored show. Thank you, Jacques Renew, Derek Tyler, G Reporter Vidal, Virginia Chobel, Coming Kingdom, Rick Thompson. Give a buck or two. No lame excuses. You can give if you want to. That's the truth, Rick, but you're a giver, Rick. That's what I mean. It's always the people who don't give that get pissed off and say stuff. The givers are always the givers, right? It's always the same people that, which I do appreciate, y'all. I'm not playing. Like, it's always the same people, though, that donate, the same people that share, the same people that are in the chat. So you know, some of you guys are super good to me, and I just can't tell you how grateful I am. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you. Remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. Links in the description. God bless you guys. I love you. Y'all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. See you tomorrow night. Peace.
Take a left on straight, but no, I drop a little bit, then they hit some shit. Just throw down the road too young, play pit with the pit in the yard. Beat you to my dog, then I yard. Bury your bones still dark. No, Lord, the make it see me like a black bitch. I sleep when I'm dead. Dreaming while they zipping up the body bag. Put my fucking feet into my head.
put some real restrict on my P's and Q's. I refuse to be broken shit.
Sucker buster, fuck that bitch. Ain't got no friends, they all turn snitch. Trust no one, they ban the switch. Trust no bitch, just give them get. That is out pimp with the gold on my wrist. Empty the clip to the chamber, go click. No faking, no flodging, my record legit. I'm banking and dodging from poverty. Cut throat, cut dope with the all black glaze. Sniff coke, fuck hoes while I'm laying in the shade. I live up in hell and I sleep in the grave. And if you can't tell, bitch, I'm fucking insane. Pop, 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 me the bodies go drop. Busting these suckers and swerving